So today I want to talk about the psychology of money, the psychology of money. And the reason why I want to talk about it is because I think it's important. Oftentimes people get trapped in this idea of just gaining money, going after the money, and not really having any why, not having any reason for accumulating money or gaining wealth. And that causes some problems. One of the problems is if you don't have a why and if you don't have a purpose and the reason for accumulating wealth, when things get tough and when there's bumps in the roads and things come along that set you back even, it's going to be hard to continue because you realize that some things like health and your mental health and your physical health and your family and people that you care about are way more important than money. And so that could derail you and stop you from pursuing it. Because a big part of gaining wealth is the offense strategy. And the offense strategy that I normally talk about is accumulating wealth, is increasing your income. If you're working for someone, working on your career to advance your career and continue to grow your income that way. Or if you have a business or starting a side business, is generating that income. So the offense or the offensive strategy is to gain your wealth in your income, your cash flow. And then the defense is your saving, you're cutting certain expenses for a certain period of time. It's having an emergency fund. It's all the other things that help you accumulate and grow your wealth. So there's two sides of it. And so when you don't have a strong why, or you don't have a why at all, or a purpose, it's going to be hard to stick to those things. Now, another thing to point out with the psychology of money is people often think that money will bring happiness. That if you have more money, then your life will be better or you'll be happier. And that is far from the truth. I know personally, I've grown my income almost six times over in the past 10, 15 years. And I can assure you that I'm not any quote unquote happier than I was 10, 15 years ago. Now, are there certain things in my life that I have more peace about? Yes, but that's completely different than like being happy. Finding your happiness shouldn't come from how much money you have in the bank account or how much money you're able to put down on a house or anything like that. Happiness shouldn't come from material possessions either. And so oftentimes people get confused, especially because of social media and YouTube. People tend to focus on the like 0.0001% of those people that are multimillionaires or even billionaires. That's like makes up like a fraction of the percentage of people on earth, let alone this country. And so people focus on those people and they're like, well, they're happy and, they've got tons of money and, a Lamborghini will make me happy. And sometimes you hear from those people that, money does make them happy. And that's like a small percentage of people. So we definitely have to be careful who we're, putting our faith and trust in when we're listening to certain people. From my experience in working with people in the financial industry, in the financial sector, and just friends and family, it's the average person finds their purpose and true happiness, not in money, not how much money they don't have or how much money they do have, but in other things. So I challenge you from a psychological standpoint is to find a purpose, to find a meaning, to find a why. And I'll share you my why. I have no problems doing that. My why is to gain wealth, become a multimillionaire. That way I can leave an inheritance for my family to change the destiny of my family tree. Because I don't know if you guys know, but I come from an immigrant family. We came from nothing. We had nothing, and to be established here in this country is important. It's an important thing to us. And so one of the ways to help my family tree and legacy be established here, because I love this country, is to leave an inheritance that not an inheritance so they can squander it, but a systematic process where, in a will, I give a certain amount to certain people, certain periods of time for them to help with their education, maybe a down payment for a house, etc. And not only to leave inheritance for my family, but it's also to change lives, to be able to help build schools, to help orphanages, to do some giving back towards the end of my life with that money. We live a pretty ordinary life. We like nice things, but we don't get happiness from those things. We've established a certain lifestyle that we're okay with, that we're content with, and the rest we're just growing. And eventually we want to give back. One of the dreams that I have is to live off 1% and give 99% away. Now, does that might sound pretentious? Yeah, probably, but that's something that's been in my heart for a long time, and that's what motivates me and drives me. So a few years ago, I was sitting with a friend of mine, and he was telling me a story of him going to Dominican Republic and seeing these kids that they were feeding, and they couldn't feed all of them. They just didn't have enough resources to feed all these kids in this orphanage. And so the way they rationed the food was they fed the little kids first. And then there was a fenced area where all the rest of the kids kind of just waited their turn. And sometimes the older kids, like 12, 13, 14-year-old kids, sometimes depending on the day, they might not even have anything left over for them after they fed all the other younger kids. And he told me the story of this little kid that maybe 5 years old went up to the fence. He had his little bowl of some rice and beans, and he took his food and he walked up to the fence and gave a handful to his brother, knowing that he might not get anything to eat that day. Or maybe he didn't have anything to eat the day before, and the little brother knew that. And man, that really tore me apart. That really pulled at me. And I remember, and I told my friend, I was like, listen, that's what I want to do. I want to help so I can feed the kids on the other side of the fence. And so knowing what your why is really will help you during those tough times and those tough decisions that you have to make, whether it's not spending certain money on certain luxurious things, or whether it's, getting to that next level and really working hard to just keep at it and persevere through tough times, and when you're tired and you don't want to do things, and you're just like, man, how am I going to get to the next step? It's those things that really will kick in and will help you get to that next level and help you continue your path to building wealth. So that's all I have. Hopefully this maybe shed some light on your wealth building journey and figuring out, what is my why? Why do I want to build wealth? And by the way, there's nothing wrong with having nice things. There's nothing wrong with saying, hey, I want a Lamborghini. That's fine. If that's your why, that makes you happy, that's fine. I just want to go a little bit deeper and just kind of challenge you a little bit, because I, at one point, also wanted that Lamborghini. I actually didn't want a Lamborghini, to be honest. I wanted a Mercedes, didn't know what kind, I didn't care. I knew when I was 18, 19 years old, I was like, man, those Mercedes look nice. It'd be nice driving up in one of those black Mercedes. But then as I got older, my why changed, and I needed to find something deeper and more meaningful to keep me on my journey. Because now I can afford the Mercedes. Now I can technically go buy a Lambo, but my why is much bigger now. So that's all I have. Hopefully this helps someone. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.